Bienvenidos, worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. Jaime En Fuego here, and I welcome you to my namesake program, Enfuegotainment, and unfortunately, it is a day of warning. That's right, it is Shitturday, which is basically every Saturday here on this channel. I do my damnedest to warn you about a film that you should not waste your 90, 100 minutes, whatever the hell it may be, and that is none other than the new Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell film entitled Downhill. Yes, I'm going to be very rapido with this particular review, everybody, but so essentially you have a couple that is vacationing in the Alps, if I'm not mistaken, and they've got their two adolescent boys. They're like, 12, 14, somewhere in that particular regard, and you can tell, even at the beginning of the movie, there's tension between the two of them, and it's really rough in that regard, and yet it's almost like you're walking on eggshells right off the bat with this particular couple, and you just kind of know that they don't like each other very much. There isn't a lot of harmony in this family, and so the groundwork is laid right away. But shortly thereafter, there is an incident where they are sitting on a deck at this restaurant, covered in snow, obviously, and an avalanche happens. And you look into the distance, and you're like, well, that looks fairly formidable. That could entail death. And so, whereas Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, the mother and the wife, she's sitting there on the other side of this, like patio table with her sons, and she clutches them both really quickly, and she's trying to be loving and caring and like, well, if we're gonna die, I'm gonna have my sons right next to me. Will Ferrell's character, on the other hand, he proceeds to grab his phone and run away. So, as opposed to staying with his family and being father bear protector, as he probably should have, that doesn't transpire. He runs away like a little coward biatch, and really from there, it's just, and they're all okay, but the fallout afterwards is what is the crux of this movie. But the reason it's on a Shitturday is because of the fact that despite performances that I suppose are okay from both Ferrell and from Dreyfus, and Ferrell does shine, I mean, not to the degree of Jim Carrey or Robin Williams in dramatic stuff, but if you've seen Everything Must Go, which is terrific, where his wife is throwing him out and he's like living on the front yard. Stranger Than Fiction is another one. The Woody Allen movie he did, Melinda and Melinda, I think was what it was called. That he has those strengths in his repertoire, okay? He's not just a goofball that it took me a little while to warm up to Ferrell. I saw, oh boy, I didn't like him in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I thought he was a little off-putting in the cheerleader sketches and stuff on SNL, but from old school onward, yeah, I was on the Will Ferrell train, and so I see everything he does, which is why I watched this one. It's even Blades of Glory, ugh. But he doesn't shine in the... It's more so, in my estimation, the writing in this film than the performances, and it's co-written and co-directed by a couple comedians whose faces I recognize, but I didn't necessarily think it even it warranted merit to throw their names out there because of the fact that I didn't like this movie. I borderline hated it, and it's one thing to watch films that have an uncomfortable relationship aspect, but Noah Baumbach's Marriage Story did it very, very well. With ScarJo and Kylo Ren. But this one, I felt so uncomfortable with so many of the different instances, and the fact that we kind of laid them down as being unlikable characters initially. You can have unlikable characters, but when it is just a slog to go through the film, the kids aren't even likable. Like, there's really nobody that you can just root for or side with in this film. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, after this incident transpires, and she is so resentful of her husband, even more so than she already was, she was already bitching and badgering at him for being on his phone all the time. So Ferrell's character, he's not really happy to be on this vacation with his family. He's just talking to his friend the whole time, who's apparently in the same area of that particular area of Europe. And then Dreyfus's character is needlessly bitching at the people for, hey, there was no signs about this, and this avalanche transpired, and I want to file a complaint. And then you look, and the guys are like, and the dude from Vikings, I think, is like, oh no, there's signs everywhere, you just didn't pay any attention to them. And so she isn't likable, he isn't particularly likable, the kids are just on their electronic devices all the time. You have to have somebody to side with and root for in a film of this particular nature, and there is a confrontation where Ferrell's aforementioned friend that I just told y'all about, he's big old tall dude from The Office, the corporate guy, that tall, skinny, black hair. I don't remember the name of that character because that was later into The Office, and I was losing steam with my affinity for that at the particular point. But so he's Ferrell's much younger friend who was traveling with this, younger lady friend of his as well. And there is a drunken confrontation where Dreyfus has enough wine where she basically pulls these two friends of theirs into the confrontation, into the conflict, into the argument, and just calls out Ferrell for just being a little cowardly asshole like he was in that particular situation. And yet the uncomfortability that those two people felt in that scene was exactly what myself and Catherine felt as we were watching this movie. And I was just like, my God, I don't want to spend another hour with these people. These people are vengeful and awful, and I like dark comedy. I like the whole dramedy sort of thing, but none of the laughs really hit, and I wasn't even really rooting for Dreyfus's character as she goes off and has her own solo day with this ski instructor guy without spoiling stuff too much. So, and also Ferrell has his drunken day with his buddy, and there was really very little likable about this film. I can't go as far as saying it's a 1 out of 5 stars, but it's 2 to 2.5, and anytime I have that, like I would probably say 2.5, but in that regard I have to commit either to a 2 or a 3 if I'm ranking things adequately, and this is definitely a 2. This is a Malo film in my estimation, and this sort of quirky indie dramedy has been popularized for a while, and I do enjoy a lot of them. Stuff like Juno and Little Miss Sunshine really just laid the groundwork, and I mean, some people would say Wes Anderson does a similar sort of thing with like the quirky soundtrack and performances that are kind of awkwardly funny, but this was not awkwardly funny. All of the laughs felt flat, and I was just really more so at the end of the day irritated by this movie in comparison with anything else, which is why you're seeing it on a Shatterday, Shitterday, whatever we're gonna end up calling it. I'm not calling it Shatterday because that was a song from a band back in the mid-2000s, one of those post-screamo sort of bands, so it's gonna remain Shitterday, everybody, at least as far as I've contemplated. But yeah, Downhill, which is a Swedish remake, and I'm curious if the Swedish remake was actually better, because of the fact that it would have to, this would have to retain a major amount of the story, and I would imagine that movie is a slog and just a kind of chore to get through as well. But yeah, thanks at least for tuning in for 10 minutes or whatever it is for me to tell you not to watch a movie. I appreciate your time, everybody. I've been Jaime En Fuego. You can find me on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, here on the YouTubies. This channel is normally either bitching about stuff on Saturdays for Shitter Day. On Thursdays, I do a Retro Fuego where I check out a film that is a little bit older that I've never seen before. Mondays shift back and forth between Animated Mondays and Musica Mondays. Stay tuned for a review of The Commitments, which is an Irish film that I had never seen before, directed by Alan Parker. That's going to be coming on Monday, but I greatly appreciate all of you. If you like spectacular stuff, if the scarific is more along your lines and you're here and not on my bigger channel, that is a travesty, everybody. Go to youtube.com/The Horror Show channel. That's where myself, my co-producer and creator and showrunner over there, Cecil Laird, along with Susie von Slaughter, Marsha Parker, who just had a baby, congrats to her, and Robert Toole, the rest of our team over there, and we do unboxings, trailer reactions, let's plays. I have a weekly Stephen King show called Hail to Stephen King. And also reviews of television, film, and comics, and various other things. It's a blast, and we try to keep it as fresh and all-encompassingly comprehensive as possible. So jump over there, like, subscribe, do the same thing here, hit the bell so you actually get notifications when I do more of these silly videos. And yes, greatly appreciated once again. And until the Reel of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, Cinemigos, constant readers and viewers alike, say thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'm hopeful that we share more of this film palaver sooner rather than later, but hopefully under better circumstances. So until then, stay home, stay safe, and watch more movies, but not downhill.